Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Spiritual Journey podcast. My name is Nimesh Radia, and I'm your host. I always love starting with each episode by saying thank you. I feel so very blessed with this podcast. I can't believe we're nearly at 200 episodes. It's crazy, and I feel so blessed. And I just want to say thank you to everyone that supported this podcast, listened, commented, being a guest. I feel so very blessed. And apologies, I came back from Ubud, Bali last week, and I have a little bit of a cold, so if my voice doesn't come through very clearly, I will try and be as clear as I can through this episode. But we wanted to make sure that we still showed up. So, quick intro for me. I'm an Akashic record reader, Akashic trainer, podcast host, podcast creator, as well as spiritual coach and mentor. And I love what I get to do. I get to guide people to truly be their authentic selves, to shine their light how it's meant to be. And I gave up a long role in the corporate world to do this, and I thank my guides and everyone that kind of guided me to this place every single day. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And as we get closer to Christmas, we thought we'd do an episode around that sort of energy. So Stacey, I'm looking forward to this episode. But this podcast wouldn't be where it is today without my beautiful co-host, introducing the amazing, the stunning, the healer extraordinaire, and published author, Stacey Brown. Stace, over to you.
Hi, friends. It's so good to be back. My name is Stacey. I'm an intuitive. I do readings for people from around the world. I'm also an Akashic record reader, spiritual coach and mentor, and a podcast co-host. I recently published a book called Journey to Soul Center, Discovering the Gift of Surrender, and it's available on Amazon and Audible. Really looking forward to getting into this topic today. As we close out the end of the year, it feels really special.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it too. And it's just, everybody has different feelings around this season, right? Christmas can be a beautiful time of family, love, kind of spending time with loved ones. It's definitely different from the normal routine, but it can also be an isolating, a lonely time. And, it's just a really interesting period. And as Stacey was talking about, as we close out the year, 2024 has definitely been an interesting and an intense healing year for a lot of people. So, but this episode in particular we want to talk about the gift of presence, finding peace, stillness, and joy during this holiday season. And like I was saying, it's like this season, I find for a lot of people, it's in extremes. Some people get excited by it, and because it's a time to be away from work and reset and kind of be with family. And for lots of others, it can be very triggering. Mm-hmm. And, if we start by talking about the gift of being present, that's the first thing I suggest is, whatever you're going through in this season, be present. And if you're spending time with family, I always remember Sidra always used to talk about, your blood family, your soul picked, right? So when you're spending time with them, whatever you're experiencing during that time gives you a clue as to what's ready to be healed. Mm-hmm. So that's the first thing I suggest is really being present. And, it's easy to get lost in the emotion. But if you can be present and feel what you're feeling and really ask, how is it serving you? There's a lot of power to that. And for me, it's even more powerful than any material gift, any present you could get. What if you give yourself the gift this Christmas of being present? How does that sound to you, Stace?
It's such a challenging time of year for so many. I think you're right. I think a lot of people are joyful and excited about the holiday season, but I also think that there can be a heaviness to this season, and it can challenge people in a way that they maybe didn't see coming. And for me, it's kind of a mix of both. I enjoy seeing my kids open their gifts. I enjoy the connection and the power of that. But there's also this anticipation and expectation that I feel the pressure of. the pressure to perform and the pressure to make sure that everybody has what they want and gets what they need and all of those things. And so it's a mixed bag for me. There are parts of it that I get really excited about, and there are parts of it that are bittersweet. And so I feel like I can relate to both sides. I know there are people who have experienced loss this year. And so there's grief in the holiday season. Um, we've just seen so many different responses to this time of year that I feel like this is a powerful episode for our listeners, whether you're embracing the holiday season or you're meeting it with some resistance. Um, I think there's such a wide array of how we handle this season and how it impacts us.
Yeah, I mean that's so true. I mean, in terms of everybody's has different experiences, and it just we put so much pressure on ourselves, regardless of whatever we're going through, and it just I can relate. I mean, so my Christmas and New Year's is very different. My Christmas, I have a big family. I have 4 brothers, 4 sisters, 10 nephews, 3 nieces, and it's one time a year I host everybody. So it's like 26 people coming for Christmas dinner, which is crazy. And it would be so easy for me to get lost in the busyness of the day. And I'm sure with those that are listening who are kids and stuff, it'd be so easy just to put so much pressure and get lost in the craziness of the day and the pressure, and the kind of sometimes it's an anticlimax too, right? We buy all these gifts for people, and do they appreciate it? It's interesting, right? But I know what I try and do at different times of the day. I try and stop and be present and just look around and just honor whatever I'm feeling in that moment. A lot of it actually for me is gratitude, because I've gone to a lot of effort to get everybody together and, kind of and I like to be present in the moment when I could so easily be lost in the craziness of it. But even if whatever your situation is, whether you got a busy, whether you got quiet, whether you're on your own, I'll still encourage you to stop it multiple times a day and honor whatever you're feeling. Be present. And I know some people that I talked to recently just kind of almost want the holiday season to be over. And some people get really excited by it. I mean, I saw a friend yesterday that has been excited about Christmas since mid-November, and that blows my mind a little bit. But whatever you're experiencing, honor it.
Mm-hmm.
And ask, what are you carrying from previous Christmases? Because I do find that we carry a lot of expectations and energies from. It's the one time a year where we carry a lot of, I guess, programming or whatever you want to call it, from what we've experienced. So it can be a really healing time, regardless of what you're going through. So, as I said, being still, being present is the best thing I could recommend, whether you're busy or whether you're quiet.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's a time of great healing because of everything and the expectations of previous Christmases. And also, as we said, it's as we're getting close to the end of the year, there's also that energy. It's like there's how much have we been through this year? How many karmic cycles have we been through? How much have we closed out? How much stress and planetary shifts, and every day it's like so often you hear from astrology, oh my God, this is the most important time of the year. How many times have we heard that this year? So being present, being still, I feel like is an important time. And if you have got kids, being present as they open the presents, as they experience whatever they're going through, be present to that too. Again, we put so much emphasis on taking pictures and enjoy the time, whatever you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're on your own, I get it can be a really lonely time. What are you up to this Christmas, Stace? How are you feeling about it?
So I have 4 kids, and the kids are kind of scattered in all different directions. but I'm making plans now to try to make sure that I see them. I would say the actual holiday itself is pretty quiet for me. Um, Keeping it very small, just spending it with my youngest and making sure that I make it special for her. And then I'll make my rounds to see the other kids through that time. But for me, it's a time of reflection. 2024 has been such a challenging year for me. And I know it has been for so many people. It's been a year of big decisions, a year of a lot of change, a lot of shifting for me. I just moved. So I'm, getting settled during the holiday season, which a lot of people don't do. You add to the holiday craziness a move, and that can be a lot of shifting. And so I just feel like it's a time of reflection for me to think about what I have been through in this last year and what I've overcome, which is powerful, and a time to be thinking about the hopes and dreams that I have for 2025 and what that looks like. I think there can be some sadness this time of year, but I think there's also anticipation and excitement. Whether you've had a rough year or you've had an amazing year, there can be excitement about what's coming in the year ahead.
Very true. Very true. I guess the first thing the thing I'd suggest to our listeners is be honest with yourself in terms of how do you feel about Christmas? What are you carrying on? What are you carrying from previous years, and what are you holding on to expectations? Because as well as the different feelings of excitement, nervousness, I also feel because we have that time away from work, we're in a different orbit, different surroundings, different depending where you're at. I feel it could also be an opportunity to heal,
Mm-hmm.
especially for your inner child, because, like I said, I feel like we carry so much energy, emotion around what we went through as a child. And this is what I mean by the power of stillness and kind of being present as to what you really feel like. It's a great time to journal, to just spend time in nature if it's not too cold. Take deep breaths and be present with what you're feeling. We always recommend, we have 4 bodies: physical, mental, emotional, spiritual. It's a great time to scan each of your bodies and just ask yourself, how do you feel in each one?
Mm-hmm.
Because again, I feel like it's a great opportunity to heal. I feel like our inner child comes up so much during this time because, what sort of childhood did we have? Was it exciting? Did we get the presents we wanted? Or were we disappointed? Um, what is your inner child feeling?
Mm-hmm.
And kind of being present with what you're truly feeling, including your inner child. I feel like it's a beautiful time to heal.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess with what we do, I'm going to be thinking about the healing side anyway. But so many people wish Christmas away. But what if, even if Christmas is the best period for you because of whatever you went through? What if you choose this time to really connect with your inner child and to love your inner child and to really connect with you?
Mm-hmm.
So, how does your inner child feel about Christmas days?
I have great memories of Christmas growing up. So for me, to live vicariously through my kids and my granddaughter is so powerful. And that's where the true joy for me comes from, is tapping into those memories of what it was like as a kid and what the magic was, and recreating that magic for my children. My youngest is 11, and this is probably the last year that she's still going to believe in Santa. And having that magic with her and that excitement brings me to a space of being excited myself. Even though there may be a heaviness for me about where I am, there is a joy that I get from watching her and watching my granddaughter that just you can't put a price tag on. It's that powerful. And when I stay in that space of living through my child's eyes and seeing the holiday in that space, it really does bring me peace. It brings me peace in such an amazing way, because I think sometimes we can focus so much on ourselves, and we can go down a rabbit hole, right? Of like what we've been through, what we've experienced, what pain we've experienced. But what if we tried to see it through a child's eyes? What if we try to embrace the holiday season as a child would, with that innocence and that kind of wide open to the magic space that they're in? I mean, it's something I think a lot of us lose as the years go on, but I think it's something that you can get back if you try.
Such a powerful thing to suggest. I was talking about healing the inner child, and Stacey talking about being that child. I think that's really powerful. And I just realized something for me is that, Stacey, as you were talking about your Christmases, I, growing up, as I said earlier, I got 4 brothers, 4 sisters. We were refugees as a 3-year-old, came over from Uganda. So I don't actually remember a lot about Christmases growing up, but that's probably because we didn't have a lot of money, we struggled. But I realize now that me getting the whole family together at Christmas is kind of so that I can give my extended family, creating magic moments for them that I didn't get growing up.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess another powerful question would be, as you experience Christmas as an adult or however old you are, what are you doing that's different from you as a child? Are you making up for stuff? Are you doing something different? For me, being a student at this time, being a student of life, you get so many clues as to how you are as an adult during this time. So this is why I keep coming back to that, being present, because I just feel like we get so many clues. It's like when we're in the day to day, when we're working 9 to 5, whatever it may be, we're busy, we're in a routine. And sure, a child comes up a lot, etc. But during this time when maybe you're not working as hard and you have time maybe with family, with loved ones, or even on your own, that doing something different is an opportunity to be that student, to really kind of understand what you're going through and be present in the moment. As Stacey was talking about, it's living the magic as a child.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like this time could be, if you could reframe it, because I get it's a really stressful time for a lot of people. It can also be a lonely time.
Mm-hmm.
And if you are on your own, then what if this is a time for you to truly do some healing, do some journaling, do some inner child work, but also do some connection with your guides?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe this is a time just to kind of sit in silence and connect with the energies and vibration around you. And as Stacey was saying earlier, be really clear on what are you creating for 2025.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, next week's episode, we'll talk much more about kind of getting ready for the new year, the new vibration, and kind of, but there's nothing stopping you thinking about it now.
Mm-hmm.
What are you letting go of? What have you been holding on to all this time as we've been kind of releasing all these karmic cycles? This final energy for 2024, what are you choosing to let go of? Are you still holding on to the old version of you? Have you embraced this new version? Have you fallen in love with this new version? What can you let go of? What are you choosing to let go of, Stace? I love putting you on the spot, right?
What am I choosing to let go of? I feel like this year has been about me letting go of what I thought my life was going to look like for whatever my higher power has in store for me. I mean, my life looks nothing like I would have anticipated it looking at this point. Like, there's not a single area of my life that looks anything like I would have anticipated, from where I live to what I'm doing for a career to the relationship dynamics that I have. There's just not an area of my life that I could have envisioned looking like this. And so for me, I feel like 2025 is about embracing this. Like, this holiday season is about me kind of coming to an acceptance that life looks different than what I thought. But what if this next season is going to be even more beautiful than I expected? What if all the challenges that I've faced are leading me on a journey to being in an even better place than I could have anticipated? So I think I'm letting go of expectations. I think I'm letting go of trying to be in control. And I'm trying to relinquish that control and be open to the magic.
That's powerful. Letting go of expectations. I feel like it's something I've been working on all year too. And it's just, if I was to summarize the current energy and how I feel about, I love the phrase and I always think about it. It makes me smile. I tell God my plans and he laughs, right? It's that, 2024 has really been about releasing those expectations. I mean, look at the last few years. I mean, how much control have we really had? Whatever expectations we had, as you say, I'm sure, just like you, there's, for most people, are you living the life that you expected? And what if the life and where you are right now is exactly where you're meant to be? And what if 2025 can be all about new beginnings? This is why I asked earlier about, what are you, as a listener, what are you holding on to?
Mm-hmm.
For me, I am just choosing to ride the wave. I'm choosing to release any expectations and be be as present as I can. I feel a shift happening around the planet, and I want to be present for that shift. So I'd highly recommend it. And yeah, there's more that you can just be. Because the other thing, and I recognize it in me, is this is a period. It's like when I'm hosting that many people, there's, so many of us, there's a need for perfection.
Mm-hmm.
We want to make the perfect dinner. We want to get the perfect presents. And, we have expectations of how things are going to go. When they don't go how we want them to go, we get stressed. And what if whatever happens is exactly what's meant to happen? What if you could let go of that need to be perfect? Whatever perfect, who knows what perfect looks like? And what if you could truly just enjoy this holiday season?
Mm-hmm.
What daily practices can you do? What can you do that bring more fun into your life at this time? Can you take time out to do more journaling? Can you take more time out to be grateful in this moment? What can you be grateful for? And be, intentional with it. In this moment, I'm grateful for being on this podcast, having this conversation, having the insights that I'm having as we're talking, being able to be here with Stace and just share this open conversation. That's what I'm grateful for in this moment. And Stace, you know what I'm going to ask you, right?
What am I grateful
What
for?
are you grateful for in this moment?
I'm grateful in this moment that I have a roof over my head, that I have access consistently to my daughter, that I'm living with her, spending time with her, watching the holiday season through her eyes. There's nothing better than seeing the holiday season through the eyes of a child. And I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for this podcast and the experience that we have to reach so many people with our voices. And maybe this sounds a little trite, but I'm grateful to see this year coming to an end. This year has challenged me in ways that I didn't know I would be challenged. And there's some beauty in that because I've learned a lot about myself. But there's also some relief in knowing that it's coming to a close and that there's new beginnings ahead.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I mean, 2024 has definitely been a transformational year for, I'm sure, most of us. And I do feel that I'm excited about 2025. It does feel like a new vibration. Spiritually, a lot of people talk about spring being more of the start of the new year. I don't know, who cares? What if the beginning of 2025 is an opportunity for us to truly embrace who we are? And yeah, so I can resonate a lot with what you're saying, Stace. You're one person actually that I've known for maybe 4 years now, and who's been through so many rebirths since I've known you. And yeah, just I'm proud of the person you've become.
Thank you.
And the other thing I really try and do during this time is be present in the conversations I'm having. Because again, it's a powerful time to have a different sort of conversation with people. How often in the day-to-day world are we chit chat, we focus on weather. I mean, to be honest, I don't really have a lot of those conversations anymore, but I do find this period where everybody's energy and vibrations are a little different. I really try and be present in all the conversations I'm having because people recognize it when you're open and you're being present in a conversation. So that's the other thing I'd recommend is be present in all the interactions. I mean, Stacey was talking about interaction with her daughter, and just living life in her eyes. But again, there's so many magic moments that are created there. It's just if it's so easy to get lost in the energy of Christmas and the emotion that goes with it. But I keep going back to being that present. But a different way of being present is being present in the conversations you're having. And if you're having dinner with family, then be present in that moment. Can you really enjoy the food? Can you really enjoy the conversations you're having? And how can you spread joy? As we talk about, this period can be a really lonely period for so many. So if you're out in the world, shopping, whatever it may be, how can you spread joy? Knowing that your vibration, your energy is naturally healing. So what if in the craziness of Christmas, and especially if you're going shopping and things like that, what if you could choose, instead of getting agitated, and I'm sure there's times I would get agitated, but what if you could choose to spread love? What if you could treat people with kindness, knowing that this is such a stressful time?
Yeah, and that's powerful because when we put aside our own needs and our own expectations and we're in service to others, we are in a very powerful place. We're not in the woe is me, feeling bad for ourselves. And I will say, when I am helping other people, it takes me out of the headspace of feeling sorry for myself or being sad. There is a gentleman who just wrote a book, and the name of the book escapes me, but his name is Mo Gadat. And he talks about happiness. And the book is all about, how to be happy. And Mo talks about how we need to shift ourselves away from like our own space. And when we help other people, we can really elevate where we are, right? And I think there's something really powerful to that in saying, you know what? I'm going to stop worrying about what I don't have. He's like, we're a society that always looks up. We look up to the people who have the stuff that we don't have, but we need to become a society that looks down And what he means is we need to look down and recognize that there are other people who have less than what we have. And instead of comparing ourselves to the people who have more and having jealousy and envy, look at the people who have less and recognize how much you actually have. And I think there's some real power to that. When you look down, there's always someone who's struggling more than you are or who has less than you do. And when we look at that space, then we can be of service to those people. And it brings us out of the space of feeling sorry for ourselves.
Yeah, I mean, that's interesting, powerful. Sure, I can get the name of it and include in the show notes the name of the book. Yeah, I mean, it's true, right? It's being, what are you focusing on expands, right? So if you're focusing on not having enough and comparing yourself to others, and then you're telling the universe you want more of that, right? Whereas if you're focusing on what you have and being grateful for it, again, what if the universe gives you more of that? And just as I think about advice and techniques that we can give, well, we've already talked about being present. I would always recommend shifting from I think to I feel. How do you feel about whatever you're going through? Because thinking comes from your history, your programming. Feeling comes from your heart.
Mm-hmm.
And just shifting from doing to being. It's like so often we go through Christmas and this type of periods on autopilot,
Mm-hmm.
almost like being in survival mode. But what if you could actually be present in the moment and be? And as Stacey was talking about, as whoever's around you, if you're going to share gifts, then being present as they open those gifts. Even if you're on your own, how are you feeling? And are you being present, or are you just doing? Are you just kind of waiting for this period to pass?
Mm-hmm.
The other thing I always like to recommend during these emotional times is practicing the pause. And what do I mean by that? So we as humans we have some primal habits. So it means that if we feel attacked, we either go in defense mode or we go in attack mode. It's kind of primal, right? It's that going back to way we were as cavemen, right? If we were attacked, we'd defend. It's very primal. But when you practice the pause, what you do is you breathe before you respond. And you just take a deep breath and you maybe count to 10. And sometimes you choose not to respond at all, right? Maybe you choose to respond the next day. But especially when you do meditations, when you do the journaling, that also gives you a peace.
Mm-hmm.
And it allows you to, instead of react, which is what we do, we actually then can respond. And when everybody's emotions so high, because everyone's feeling so much at Christmas, if we choose to respond rather than react, just by pausing and being present, then what if we could kind of have a less emotional time and be present in the magic of whatever Christmas brings? How does that feel to you, Stace, practicing the pause?
I think it's such key advice, especially for all of the challenging relationship dynamics that exist in families and all of the obligatory get togethers that we have during this holiday season. I feel like practicing the pause is absolutely key to preserving your peace during this time, because there can be that uncle who says something inappropriate, or that grandmother who's demeaning, or whatever the case may be, that family member that's challenging. And if you practice the pause and kind of evaluate what's happening before you respond, it could alleviate some pressure that you might be feeling during this time. It's a powerful practice for any situation, but definitely at the holiday time.
Yeah, and always remember that everyone's going through something, right? Everyone's kind of feeling emotional, and it's always a good reminder to know that everything that's happening to you is in some way happening for you, i.e., it's a reflection of something happening inside. So if you are triggered during this Christmas period, then what if that trigger is an opportunity for you to heal? And I get, look, there's sometimes I'm sure people listen to this podcast and you're thinking, well, he doesn't understand what I'm going through because I'm different. You are different, 100%. Everyone's going through a unique experience. But I also do believe that our guides, the universe, do want us to heal, do want us to expand. And sometimes that is through painful experiences. So if this Christmas you are going through a painful experience, then have faith that you'll get through it. Be present in, really ask yourself, what are you ready to let go of? What are you ready to heal? Journal about how you really feel. Take time for you to be present in meditation, in whatever practices you feel makes sense. As we were talking about earlier, 2024 has been so many karmic cycles closing, so many relationships coming to an end. So if you are mourning a relationship, then are you ready to let it go and truly embrace the energy of 2025 as the newness they may bring? Are you ready to take time to truly fall in love with you? I really do feel like the quiet period over the Christmas and the festive period could be an opportunity for you to truly let go of that old version of you and truly embrace this new version. What advice would you have, Stacey, in terms of techniques that you feel could really help people at this time?
So practicing the pause is definitely the priority. That one feels to me like it can help anybody in any circumstance through this holiday time. I would say taking the time to journal. I am passionate about it. We all know that I'm passionate about it, but having some space to process what you're feeling is really powerful and allows you an opportunity to evaluate what exactly is going on with you in a way that it doesn't involve anybody else. It just involves you and your thoughts and feelings and emotions. So I would say that's another big one. I would say taking time to be fully present with yourself is also really important. Doesn't necessarily have to happen when other people are around, but maybe you take some time to go for a walk in nature, bundle up in the cold weather and get yourself outside. Finding space for you to be you and to step away from the chaos and the craziness just feels really important. And finding a way to do that so that you're nurturing yourself and giving to yourself what you need during this time just feels really important. And it can be hard, right? When we've got guests visiting us or we're traveling and we've got a house full of people, finding that time alone can be challenging. But even if it's just a couple of minutes where you go in your room and shut the door and allow yourself the space to do some deep breathing, to center yourself, to refocus, all of that is really important. And I think can get lost in the craziness of the busyness of this holiday season, right? We don't think about taking time for ourselves because we've got this going on and that going on and this kid's concert and this family get together. But I think taking the time to be with yourself and with your thoughts is so important, because how do you know how you really feel about something? You might just be reacting to what's happening around you, but taking that time away can be really powerful.
I love it. I love it. I couldn't agree more. Because I was talking about earlier, how often do we get lost in the busyness of the day and we don't take time out for ourselves? We're so busy helping everybody else and trying to make sure that everyone else has a great Christmas. But yeah, taking time out for you and being present and kind of just breathing through it and being honest with yourself. It sounds really simple, but I know that. So I know I struggle with it. It's just because when things are so busy. But I do try and do it. Sometimes I'll just try and go off in my own space and just breathe.
Mm-hmm.
Because what that allows you to do is be present in the magic of everything else. And, the other thing we've talked about, just as a summary, is being present. Whatever you're feeling, honor what you're feeling. If you are adjusting who you are to try and make other people happy, then honor what that feels like. Maybe ask yourself, how can you be different this Christmas? How can you be authentically yourself? Because again, if everyone around you is in some way here to expand you, then you standing in your power and being honest with yourself, there's power to it.
Mm-hmm.
Where can you speak your truth? Where do you normally bite your tongue? And again, don't do it in anger because everyone's going through something. I mean, in a loving way, how can you speak your truth?
Mm-hmm.
And maybe people will surprise you. And I guess the other question to ask is, are you doing what you really want to do, or are you doing what you feel you have to do? And again, everyone's situation is different, but what if you could do something different? If you could prioritize and make a decision for you, what does that look like? What would you do differently?
Mm-hmm.
And we've talked a lot about being present, but also journaling, practicing the pause. So, so many, and it's all really about you prioritizing you. And just the other thing I'd say in this moment is be proud. 2024 has been such an intense year. And have you taken time to be proud of who you are? Have you taken time to be proud that you got through it? Or are you still focused on what you need to do and the work, the healing work and what's coming in 2025? And could you take time out to be proud of how much you've grown?
Mm-hmm.
And sure, be very aware of what are you letting go of in this festive period, so that 2025 can be different. How are you letting go of those things that you've been holding on to? What are you feeding yourself? I mean, yeah, I get it. Christmas is a time of, where we eat all sorts of food. But again, I don't mean just the food we're eating. But sure, that's important. But also, what are you feeding yourself by? What are you watching? The conversations you're having? What are you reading? And what could you change? What could you do differently? How can you maybe be in environments where you laugh more? Because that's also very healing. It is a time where I would encourage you and challenge you to really ask what parts of this Christmas period are you on autopilot? What parts of it are programmed? And what parts of it can you change and do something different? Because, as Einstein would say, definition of insanity is keep doing the same things but expect a different set of results. What can you expect differently from yourself this Christmas that maybe allows you to transform the relationships in your life? Can you be more present and appreciate the simple magic moments? Can you create more magic moments through this festive period?
Mm-hmm.
So, Stacey, as we close out this episode, have you got any final bits of advice? And it also feels like if people have time, this would also be a great time to journal. So, any journal prompts that come to your heart?
So the thing that I'm thinking is, just because you've had negative experiences during the holiday season in the past doesn't necessarily mean that cycle has to be repeated this holiday season. It's up to you how you show up and how you allow things to get to you or to not get to you. It's a choice, right? All of it is a choice. And what you do with this time is up to you. So I would encourage our listeners to recognize that this doesn't have to be painful because Christmas was painful in the past. You can rewrite that story at any time. And I would encourage you to sit down with your journal and be reflective. What is it that I'm carrying from the past that is impacting my holiday season right now? And what do I need to let go of in order to embrace this holiday season? Do you have expectations that you have set for yourself or for others that are leading you to disappointment? And is it time to let go of those expectations and be more present? What can you do to shift this holiday season? What can you do to shift the dynamic around you? Take some time and write about it and be reflective and meditative and see what comes up.
Powerful, powerful stuff. The only thing I'd add to that is take time to connect with your guides. Allow yourself to feel the energies and the vibrations around you. Allow maybe the energies and the vibrations of the universe to love you even more from your guides. I just remembered I added a 5-minute meditation as a blog to my website, which is really designed to connect you to your guides and receive more messages from them. So maybe this is also a beautiful time to connect with your guides. Mm-hmm. And if we can help in any way, if just send us a DM. What are you going through? And maybe we can help you and support you moving forward, right? Maybe there's something, maybe it's time for you to open your Akashic records, or maybe you want to consider finding yourself a mentor, but reach out to us, send us a DM. What are you going through? And if you're celebrating something, let us know that too. I am so grateful for the journey that I've been on with this podcast and with the support I've gotten. I love you guys. So thank you. This festive period, which can be really, really kind of lonely, can be exciting, can be expansive, can be frustrating. I'm sending you all so much love and light. I'm truly hoping and wishing you an amazing festive period. Thank you for listening. And Stacey, I'm going to hand over to you to close us out.
Thank you, friends, for being here with us. The support and the love that we feel from this podcast is something so powerful. It has been a joy for us to be in this space with you and to be pouring into you. And like Nimesh said, maybe now is the time for you to reach out and get support. I just had a call with someone this week who's going through a massive shift. And she was saying, I don't know how anybody does this on their own. I would agree with that statement. I don't know how anybody does this on their own. I don't believe that's how we're meant to do things. If we can support you in any way, please reach out. We're just a DM away. Thanks, Nims.
Thank you, Stace. Wishing everyone an amazing, amazing Christmas. Sending so much love and light. Bye for now.